everyone. Welcome back. We are on lesson 5, and if you've made it this far, congratulations. And what I want to tell you now is this lesson 5 and the next one, lesson 6, should kind of be like a downhill slide. You've already learned this, so it shouldn't be too bad compared to lessons 3 and 4, which were all brand new to you, okay? So we're going to start today, lesson 5. This is law of sines. You learn law of sines in geometry. Law of sines says now in any triangle. So not necessarily in a right triangle. We don't do this in a right triangle because we just have our trig values, sine, cosine, tan, etc. We don't need to do that. But in any triangle where you have angles A, B, and C, and then the side opposite angle A is little a, the side opposite angle B is little b, and the side opposite angle C is little c, you can find missing measures of sides and angles by using this formula. And the formula goes, the sine of angle A over little a will equal the sine of angle B over little b, and by little b we mean side B, okay, which equals also the sine of angle C over little c, okay, or side C. So this is the law of sines. You can see that in the formula, they only use the sine function, okay? And when you create your equations, you're not going to be doing 3 fractions. You're only going to be doing like sine A over A equals sine B over B, or sine A over A equals sine C over C, okay? So you're just going to be setting up one equal sign with 2 fractions, okay? I'll get into this a little bit more for the next section, but we can use law of sines if the angles and side measures that they give us follow angle, angle, side, angle, side, angle, or side, side, angle. So if the information they give us follows this, where you have 2 angles and a side, or an angle with a side in the middle and then another angle, or 2 sides and an angle, then you're able to use law of sines. This will become more pertinent when we do lesson 6, okay? And so let's just start, okay? So if I look at this triangle here for number 1, I have a side of 10, side of x, 52 degrees, and 34 degrees. What I want to show you is that we have these angle side opposite pairs. So like we have 34 degrees and side of 10. So this is an angle and its opposite side. So because I have that angle and its opposite side, I can write the fraction sine 34 degrees. And by the way, the sine is always of the angle. It's never like sine 10 because 10 is the side. So sine of the angle, 34 degrees over 10. Okay, so I have that angle side pair. But I also have another angle side pair. It's this 52 degrees in the x. It's 52 is opposite the x, so they always have to be opposite each other. And so I can write for our equation sine 52 degrees divided by x. And now what I've done is I've just used law of sines to create this equation to find the missing value x. On these types of problems, we are always going to cross multiply. Okay, oopsies. So we're going to cross multiply here. So if I cross multiply, I have x times sine 34. Now this does not become 34x, okay? This is x times sine 34 degrees. Sine of 34, if you plug it in your calculator, is a specific number. It has a specific ratio of it. I don't know what it is. It's probably like 0.57 or something like that. So what you're doing is you're taking sine 34 degrees, which might be 0.57 times x. So it's 0.57x is what it is, okay? And then the next one is 10 times sine 52 degrees. Again, this is not sine of 520 degrees. That is not how it works. Sine 52 degrees is some specific value, okay? And we're taking that value, and that value is getting multiplied by 10, all right? All right, now, again, the idea is to solve for x. X is being multiplied by sine 34 degrees, so we are going to divide by sine 34 degrees. So I divide both sides by sine 34 degrees. Oops. You do not cross out the signs. It's not sine divided by sine is cancels and you have 52 over 34 and reduces. That's not how it works. Again, sine of 52 is some number. Sine of 34 is also some number. And when we put it in our calculator, we can divide it and our calculator will figure it out. So in our calculator, we are going to type in 10 times sine of 52 degrees. Okay, so you're going to want to put that in first. And then after that, we will take that answer and we will divide it by sine of 34 degrees. Okay? So you need your scientific calculator right now. If you don't have it, pause because you're going to want to practice this. Okay? Go get your calculator. If you do have it or if it's on Google, let's use that. Okay? First on your calculator, we are in degree mode right now. Make sure you're in degree. So radian, if it's highlighted, that's in radian, but I want to be in degrees, so that's highlighted. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 10 times the sine of 52 degrees. So I hit sine 52. I'm going to close my parenthesis on that sine. I'm going to hit equals here so that I do 10 times sine 52. Don't worry. Just leave that answer there. Don't round it or anything. And then all you need to do is hit divided by. So my last answer, 7.880107 blah, 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 is going to be divided by sine of 34. So sine 34 degrees. And so that numerator, 10 times sine 52, is that number 7.88. I'm going to take it and I'm going to divide by sine 34. You hit enter. We want to round to the nearest tenth or one decimal place, so we're going to get 14.1 for x. So this value is 14.1. Okay, 14.1. And so that is our missing value, and you're done. Okay? Set it up, do a little math, cross multiplication, use your calculator, and you'll find your answer. So moving on to this next one, I'm just going to do it fairly quickly, okay? Oopsies. I see I have this side angle pair, 7 and 21 degrees. So it's going to be sine 21 degrees divided by 7 equals, my other pair is going to be the 119 and the x, okay? Sine 119 over x. And just like the other one, you will cross multiply. I would have x times sine 21 degrees equals 7 times sine 119. Okay. And to solve for x, we can divide by sine 21 degrees. And so in your calculator, again, you're going to take 7 times sine 119, and then you'll divide it by sine 21. So I'll do that really quick. Clear all that. Whoops, what's going on? Okay. 7 times the sine of 119 degrees. I'll close my parenthesis. I get some number, and I'm going to take that number divided by sine of 21 degrees. Close my parenthesis, and there we have it, 17.0839. I'm going to round it, 17.1. And we found our value of x. Okay, hopefully that isn't too bad for you. Okay, you understood that. Because we're going to do the next one where now we have to find, instead of finding a missing side, we're going to be finding a missing angle. We set up the problem the same exact way. It's our solving that's going to be a little bit different. So if I look at my values here, I have this 32. Oh, no, sorry. This 64 and this 32. I circled the wrong thing. Okay, so I do see that I have sine, oh, this is another one. Oh, we have to do this. Sorry. 64 degrees is not what I was thinking of. Sine 64 degrees over 32. Okay, I see that pair. And then for my other pair, I notice I need the angle with the x. My bad, I was thinking I was doing a different kind of problem, but I'm not. Okay, I need the angle that goes with the x. This angle right here is the third angle in a triangle. So before I can set up my fraction, I actually need to find that angle. And hopefully you remember from geometry, there's 180 degrees in a triangle. So it's 180 minus the 45 minus the 64. And when you add all that up, subtract from 180, you get 71 degrees. So even though they didn't tell us we had to do that, we still had to find it. So this angle here is 71 degrees. And now I can set up my fraction, sine of 71 degrees over x. Okay? And then you do the same thing. You cross multiply. And so x times sine 64 degrees will equal 32 times sine 71. Okay? And then I can finally divide by sine 64. Both sides. So that when you cancel the sine 64s, you take your calculator, you do 32 times sine 71, you hit enter, and then you divide it by sine 64. And your answer is going to be 33.7. And there's your missing side. Okay? So sometimes you will have to find that third angle because you need to make sure you have the pair, the angle side pair and the angle side pair. Okay, so I can't use that 45 degrees. That's not going to help me. And they're going to do that. They're going to give you some missing information. They might also tell you, instead of drawing a triangle, they might say you have triangle ABC and angle A is this and angle B is this. Just draw any triangle, label it A, B, and C or whatever the letters are. And just remember the side opposite is opposite, like, so little a is opposite angle A, little b is opposite angle B. So sometimes you just have to create the triangle or they'll give it to you, okay? Okay, my apologies. This is the one I was talking about. We need to find the angle x, okay? So we have this pair, sine of 110 over 30, okay? And then we have our other pair. It's this x and 19. Those are opposite each other. Sometimes it takes a little bit to look at the picture, so make sure you look carefully. So it's the sine of x degrees, that's what we're going to solve for, over 19. And we will still cross multiply here, just like before. It'll be 30 times the sine of x degrees equals 19 times the sine of 110. Okay? So same so far, everything's the same. Still the same. It's 30 times the sine of x. I'm trying to get to x degrees, okay? And it's 30 times the sine of x, so I'm going to divide by 30. And what I have now is sine of x degrees equals 19 times sine 110 degrees over 30. This is a number I can calculate in my calculator. I can say that 19 times the sine of 110, and then I can take that number and I can divide by 30. So I'll go do that. 19 times sine 110. Clear all that. I'm in degree mode. 19 times the sine of 110 degrees. I get this answer, 17.854159, etc. Okay? But then I'm going to hit it. I'm going to divide by 30. Okay, I want that number divided by 30. And I get this, 0.595138, etc., etc. Okay, so 5951. I'm going to round this a little bit, and I'm going to write that down. I'm going to say the sine of x degrees equals 0.5951. Now, we still have not solved for our angle. Back in lesson 1 or 2, I don't even remember anymore, we learned how to find the angle. And we find the angle by doing the inverse. Okay, we have to use the inverse sign. So if I want my x degrees, what I'm going to do is find the inverse sign, sine of -1, of that 0.5951. That's what I'm going to plug in my calculator also to find the angle. Okay, so the inverse is what finds the angle. And basically what your calculator is doing and taking this ratio, the 0.5951, and it has programmed in there what the degree measure is that has that specific ratio. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my calculator. and I'm going to say inverse sine, okay, and it's going to be of my last answer. You can put 0.5951, you can hit shift or second answer, okay, so I want my last answer. I hit the A and S button for my last answer. Remember, inverse sine on this calculator in Google looks like arc sine, okay, and I hit enter, and what I've done now, 36.5, that is my angle measure. That is my answer, 36.5 degrees. This is the angle X, 36.5 degrees, okay? So all the work is the same. You're setting it up the same. It's just at the very end, to find the angle, you have to do the inverse of that value, okay? All right, last couple, and then we'll move on to the last part of this, okay? So it says Kevin, Adam, and Dan are passing a hockey puck, and we want to know for number 5, how far is Kevin from Adam? How far is Kevin from Adam? So I will call that value X right here, Kevin from Adam, okay? And so this is all the same. We have this angle side pair, 86 degrees and 25. So we do sine 86 degrees over 25, and that is going to equal my other angle side pair. Oopsies. Okay, my other angle side pair, if I'm looking for X, it's going to be this angle side pair. But I don't know what that missing angle is, so I got to do a little work. 180 minus 71 minus 86, and I get 23 degrees. This is from geometry, 180 degrees in a triangle. So this angle right here is 23 degrees. And now I have my angle side pair, 23 degrees over X. So I have sine 23 degrees over X. Okay. I'm going to speed it up. Doing a little cross multiplication and division, you would get X equals 25 times sine 23 degrees here. And we would divide that by sine 86. So if you do all the cross multiplication like we were doing above, and then you divide both sides, you're going to get this. And in your calculator, 25 times sine 23, you hit enter, and then you hit that and you divide by sine 86. You're going to get 9.8 feet, rounding to 1 decimal here. So Kevin and Adam are 9.8 feet apart. Okay, now, number 6 asks, how far is Dan from Kevin? Okay, how far is Dan from Kevin? So Dan from Kevin, that's going to be this piece right here. I'll call it Y. Okay, I do not need that pair anymore. I can still use the 86 over 25. I can use that pair. Just because I've used it once doesn't mean I can't use it again. So I can use the 86/25, and then I have, oopsies, that's not what I wanted. And then I have the 71 in Y. So I have the sine 86 degrees over 25 will equal the sine 71 degrees over Y. So I can use it again. It's okay. To find the other missing value, I can do that. And just like the other ones, we'll cross multiply, we'll do a little division, and you should end up at Y equals 25 times sine 71 degrees all over sine of 86 degrees. Plug it in your calculator, and you get 23.7 feet. Okay, so Dan and Kevin are 23.7 feet apart. Okay, so sometimes you can use a certain angle pair, and you can use it a couple times. As long as you know that angle pair side, you can use it as many times as you need to. Okay, and that is law of sines. All right, now last part. Area of a triangle. I honestly don't know if you got to this in geometry or not, okay? It's based off of area of a triangle as, oopsies, area is equal to 1/2 base times height, okay? But we're going to incorporate it with trigonometry now, right? If I look at this angle C, okay, the sine of C is going to be the opposite over the hypotenuse. And so the sine of C will equal, oopsies, h over a. With a little math, I can multiply by a on both sides, and h is equal to a times sine C. So using trigonometry, instead of saying h, the height, if I don't know the height, I can say that h is equal to a sine C. So my h here is a times sine of C. And so what happens is my area is 1/2 times, notice I have an a, b, and then a sine C. 1/2 times a times b times the sine of angle C. Because a times sine C is the height. So if I don't know the height, then I can use trigonometry, this area of a triangle in trig form, to find the area of the triangle. Okay? Your triangles won't always tell you what A, B, and C are, okay? But this angle, C, or whatever the angle is always going to be the angle between the two sides. And I'll show you what I mean. And I'm not going to make your homework or your test problems difficult. This will always kind of be just straightforward, okay? So like on number 1 here, notice this angle, 110 degrees. It is in between sides 12 and 15. It doesn't matter what A, B, and C are, okay? This can be your A, this can be your B, and this can be your angle C in degrees. But the angle is in between the two sides, so that's what you're going to use. Area is equal to 1/2 times A times B times the sine of angle C. And so we plug in our values. 1/2 times A, I said was 15, times B, I said was 12, times sine of 110 degrees for C. Okay? And these are just numbers you're just going to plug in straight into your calculator. 1/2, you can use 0.5 as 1/2 for your calculator if it's easier. Okay, so we'll go to our calculator. Make sure you're in degree mode. Okay. 0.5 times 15 times 12 times, oops, not divided by, clear, 0.5 times 15 times 12, there we go, times the sine of 110 degrees, close my parentheses. So I have 1/2 times 15 times 12 times the sine of 110 equals 84.6. Round to 1 decimal. So I have this equals 84.6. We are in centimeters, so my area is centimeters squared. And that's all you're going to do for area of a triangle. It's 1/2 the two sides times the sine of the angle. Okay. On number 2, we'll do this one really quick. Just be careful. They're going to trick you. You do not need this 8.4. 72 degrees is created by these two sides right here. So those are the two sides you're going to use. I'll call this A, call this B, and then this will be angle C in degrees. So I do not need that 8.4. It was just extra information they're throwing in there to kind of throw you off. And then you can just answer the question. The area is going to be 1/2 times A, which is 6, times B, which is 8, times the cosine, oh, not cosine, sorry, times the sine of 72 degrees. It's always the sine, always, okay? And so again, you put it in your calculator, 0.5 times 6 times 8 times sine of 72 degrees, and you get 22.8. This one is in meters, so it's meters squared. And we are all done. That is area of a triangle using your trig value, 1/2 AB sine C, okay? And law of sines as well. We've completed that. Come to my office hours with any questions. Good job.